Hey again, Carrie here. I hope y'all are doing okay out there. This is my glasses are crooked again. Yeah, I gotta focus on what I'm doing because my attention span tends to get kind of woo. But I just wanted to talk a little bit, just a personal kind of thing, really personal actually. If you've watched my About Me videos, you know that I experienced, by design, a lot of trauma that I was to carry with me, pun intended. It really isn't a laughing matter, but I mean, I do that sometimes when I get uncomfortable. It reminds me of Chandler from Friends. But on the formula of compassion, and I'll do a video where I really explain the formula of compassion, and I'll show y'all, I actually bought the formula of compassion. It's only $40, and she emails you the link to go and download it. So you don't get a book, like the actual booklets or anything. You can print them out and everything. But it's 7 keys of compassion. I haven't actually read through all of them yet. Excuse me. Drink some of my green juice. Oh, it's horrible. I'm out of the stuff that I use to make my smoothies. So this is just, and I'm drinking, it's just, I mean, it's got spirulina, which isn't bad in itself, but I'm out of everything else. Like I use spinach and blueberries, and then like mainly water, and I mix some, I'm about to drink that fast. I'll do that later. To down that thing like a shot. But yeah, it's actually really good if you have the stuff. Like usually I'll put a banana in it and that sweetens it, but I'm out of bananas and I'm out of avocados. It's a banana, I think, that really makes it. Excuse me. I still get frogs in my throat, even though I haven't smoked since, well, I would smoke occasionally. I'd say I've had half a pack since April. Maybe more, actually more than that, because there was one time when I allowed myself to drink and smoke, and then the next day I was just like, oh God, I felt like I took 10 steps back with my progress. And then there's other reasons why I feel like I can't really smoke. I'm not going to go into that, but I mean, why would you want to do that anyway? I mean, your inner child is probably what it is, wanting to have that cigarette. But okay, so the formula of compassion is it's coming from the premise of God consciousness, where we are creator gods and goddesses. And if you're religious, you might have a hard time dealing with the fact that you are that special. You are not sinful. You are not flawed. Humanity is flawed, of course, but everybody's got their good and bad. I mean, there's a reason why things are like the way that they are now. I mean, and it's by design. This is a game of polarity. It's the game of the highest order. And so when I say it's a game, I don't mean, it's just like a Monopoly game. I mean, it is a game of the highest order. Different other universes have different games, but this is an advanced game of polarity integration, where we transcend polarity So there is no looking at things you've done or things other people have done as good or bad, because we all created this. We all have played the roles in other lifetimes. Your soul, you really think that this is the only time your soul has, and I'm speaking to mainly if you're watching and you're religious and you think that this is it. Well, you know, don't be afraid, because it's not. I mean, honestly, this is the fucking dream. And that out there is, you know, like being a soul. I mean, our soul, I mean, and the thought of reincarnation, honestly, really scared the shit out of me at first. It did. It scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Because I was raised religious. I mean, look at this worship center thing in the background. I mean, my mom don't ever go over there and sit down and worship or anything. But, I mean, look at this. I was raised that, you know, religious. So don't think that I'm coming at from an angle of, like I'm better, or I'm, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, my whole thing started, my whole experience started with me saying a prayer for the first time in a long time. And that's interesting to me, because especially since I am using all of Jaleila's stuff, because she actually began hers with a prayer like 20 years ago, you know, or more, you know. So I just find that really fascinating. But yeah, we have not just come one time. Your soul is old. Our souls are old grandmothers and grandfathers. You know, I just realized earlier that my soul's name is Hazel. I mean, I don't know if that's like for sure. I mean, it's not like my soul came down and just in front of me and said, "Hey, my name's Hazel, by the way." It just kind of came to me, you know. But, and I think the thing that scared me the most with learning that we were reincarnated, that we get reincarnated, I mean, is like, because there's a lot of fear porn on the internet, like, oh, these entities are going to trap you and make you come back, and you're going to have to be recycled. I mean, what? No. Nobody can do that. Okay, so don't let them scare you like that. I mean, of course, Team Dark is gonna have that, you know, just let you think that, but we come back because it's about soul evolution. Okay, and our souls, excuse me, our souls remember everything. I mean, there's not a life that you're ever going to live this life is not going to be in vain. And I think that's what scared me the most, is thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to come back, and I'm not going to, you know, all of this is for nothing. This is, you know, what I'm experiencing now, my loved ones, my daughter, my mom, you know, what's going to happen with that? And it's just because we don't remember. That's what it is. We fear what we don't know. We fear the unknown. That's why, you know, like a lot of these ET races, they fear us because we fear the unknown. We have our emotions. We don't harness our emotions, and that's very dangerous when you're an emotional creature who lives off and, you know, functions through emotion, and we don't have control of those emotions. So that's what this is about. So you're basically and I have a lot of things to work on with my trauma. If you've seen my About Me's, you know it's a lot. It's a lot of shit. But a lot of trauma can be a lot of healing. And whenever you peel these layers, it's like an onion. Whenever you peel these layers of trauma off, using this formula, or however you do it, I think this is the best way. Honestly, it's genius. So try what you want. I've done the Teal Swan, the methods that she uses, the completion method. It didn't really work. I've done it. I've done the completion method. I've done the go in and talk to your inner child, and change the memory and shit like that. It didn't really. That's not what you're really supposed to do. You're supposed to go in and do this. Honestly, this is my opinion, but this is my blog too. So, it just works. It works, and it's brilliant. So anybody, like, say, okay, I'm not gonna get too much into detail with what, and I've done this, I did this with the situation with the lady that I used to work with. I've got other people I've got to do that with too, so you'll have to do the formula more than once, sometimes with the same situation, the same scenario, even the same person, because, well, if you order the formula, you can read all about it. But this is okay, it was last night, and I did it on the situation where my mom, when I was 12, right after the divorce, and right after we moved, and I wrote about it. I was really vulnerable, and I was trying to fit in, and I cussed in class twice, and I just mouthed the words, but I still, got in trouble and sent to the office. But they called my mom to come pick me up. Well, she brings a switch and starts hitting me in front of the whole school, and then took me home and stripped me down naked and beat me relentlessly. Now, for a long time, she'll deny it. If you mention it, she will deny that. And for a long time, I felt like, I'm the victim. I was a victim. I had a victim mentality, and that's the problem. Whenever you have the concept of forgiveness, well, I was seeking. I don't know. It's like I was seeking an apology for something, and I'm never gonna get it, because and I did see a counselor about this, therapist about this, and they made it clear, well, sometimes you're just never going to hear what you need to hear, so you've got to just forgive and do it for you. Well, that doesn't really work, and that's not, that keeps you in the victim mentality. So this takes you out of that, it transcends it. And so I wrote it down, and it's interesting. So if what I'm finding is, if it happened a long time ago, if it happened so long ago or whatever, then write it down. And that's what I'm doing, and I think it really worked. Because I felt it. Because whenever you write about it, it puts you in that, like it just happened. So yeah, mom using a switch when I was 12, and then I started going through my life, how, it was a pivotal moment. I needed lots of emotional support. Well, my mom told me, they told me that I was adopted, that my real mom died. She told me that when I was like 5. Can you imagine? 5 years old, 6 years old, being told your real mom died. Well, that fucked me up already, I was already screwed up. You don't tell kids that when they're that young. My goodness, some kids, they don't, they go their whole, until 18, and then they're told. But I was like 5, so I was already screwed up, and then they divorced at 12, and then my mom and me stayed together, and then my sister left and went to stay with my dad. Well, that was already more abandonment issues and more, crap. So I'm not going to get into too much into all that. But yeah, I ended up in this new town. I think I started smoking cigarettes that first day that I got there. Well, so that just should tell you something, how much I wanted to fit in and feel loved and accepted. And so I was willing to do anything, just, who cares who I really am. I was willing to do anything to get that love. So yeah, here's the day it happened. I wrote, leading up to that day, I wrote about that day. And then when I got to the point where it was actually happening, I mean, I was just pissed. I was like, "Argh," you know, and that's the tool. That's what you're supposed to get yourself to that point, because the anger is the trigger, is the sign that tells you, hey, there's something here. Maybe you should dig down and figure out what that might be. And I'm not going to go too long on this, because I am going to do another video about it. But this is important for y'all. If you have trauma, then let me help you, because I have a lot. Okay. Step 1, and there's 9 steps of the formula. I'm going to briefly go through it. I'm not going to tell you everything I wrote, because it's very personal. Step 1 is, what is the lesson I wanted to learn regarding this person and our conflict? And what I had to do, because you're supposed to ask out loud, you ask your God, guides, soul, whatever, show me what the lesson is that I wanted to learn. Well, you know, I had a kind of a hard time. It's not like I just channel and I hear voices like that. I mean, I don't know if I probably could if I did certain things, but once I clear some of this out, but it's like clogging my tube. I mean, if you watch the video from yesterday about who are the voices and what do they want, my tube is clogged because of all this emotional crap. It's clogging it up. So I had to do a visualization where I imagined it happening, her beating me while I'm, down around her ankles, begging, please stop, and I imagined that on the stage. So, and after a while, I said, the situation makes me feel like I can't trust love, made me feel powerless, defenseless, battered and bruised, envious of other people whose families were happy. And then I, kind of go on. And I end up saying, it taught me that I must keep my emotions bottled up inside. I could be loved and protected by protecting her, because I didn't want to tell anybody what happened. I did not defend myself out of fear of outcome. If I did defend myself, I would hurt her and myself. The lesson I wanted to learn is that I can't defend myself with boundaries at the risk of hurting others, healthy boundaries, to speak up when they are violated. Okay, so, because we made a contract before we were both born. Step 2, what is the contract I made with this person regarding this lesson? The contract I made with her was to help me learn how to regain my power, my voice. Why do I have to forsake myself to defend and protect the emotions of others? Step 3, what is the role this person is playing to act out their part in the contract? And this is when it gets interesting. She played the part of an overly stressed, newly single mom who lacks the ability to nurture my emotion and needs, an angry, quick-tempered, abusive mother. Step 4, what is the aspect this person is reflecting back at me? And that's really when you have to look at yourself, because when you point the finger at somebody, okay, what is she doing? You're pointing fingers back at you. There's a reason why they say that, because it's a mirror. This is the mirror. I betrayed and abandoned and abused myself by not speaking up about the abuse. Even though I feared the outcome, foster care for me, jail for her, I should have spoken up and defended myself. I showed Ella, which is my inner child, that we had no voice because I wanted to feel safe, shelter, and basic human needs. This is also true for several of my relationships. And I started bawling, man. This is what got me at this step. Step 5, what is the gift she gave me by playing her role? And I'm going to just tell you what I wrote. And I was crying. She would not have been capable of treating me like that if she led a happy life. She was given up to an orphanage at the age of 12. 12, the same age I was. Along with her 4 siblings, being the oldest, she must have felt a need to care for them, mother them. Mary Lou, my aunt, said she used to hit them with a switch too. Is it a coincidence that this happened to her at age 12 and was afraid to mention the abuse, and I was afraid to mention the abuse out of fear of being orphaned at age 12. I don't think so. The fact that she would agree to be abandoned herself, raised in an orphanage because they couldn't afford food to feed them. She must have also experienced losing her voice, ability to express her emotions. I can't imagine the teachers at the orphanage were too friendly or loving. She also learned to bottle up her emotions. This is why she can seem so heartless. She lashes out in anger to protect herself when she starts to feel sadness, abandoned, fearful. Any negative emotion is avoided because she herself was never taught to properly express. So then she married. They lived, the first place they were married at was Carey Street. Do you think that's a coincidence? For fuck's sake, they lived on Carey Street. That was their first house. Coincidence? She had to fear abandonment in order to instill it in me and experience extreme sadness and betrayal to play her role. The gift she gave me is that I don't have to exist for everyone else. Excuse me again. There are boundaries I must set for myself, regardless of the authority, their authority over me. Regardless of the outcome, regardless of sparing their feelings, I don't have to abandon myself to have my needs met. Okay? And I mean, that was just, and it took me like an hour and a half to do all this, you know, but totally worth it. I mean, and oh my God, it does something to you. It really does. Step 6, can I accept the role she played to help me learn this lesson? Yes, absolutely I can, and am grateful to her for living the life she lived and is still living to play this role. Step 7, can I allow myself to let go of anger toward her for the role she played for me to learn this lesson? Yes. Step 8, can I release her from blame? Yes, I can release her from blame. And man, I just felt just this amazing feeling right here. This is where your thymus is. They say it's supposed to, your high heart, it's where they say it's supposed to vibrate. I wasn't really feeling, I don't know if maybe I'm numb or something, but it just felt amazing right here. Just a really good, soothing feeling during this. Step 9, this is the last step. Now that I have released her from blame, can I be kind to her, and how? Now that yes, a letter, because I'm not good with just going up to her. I can't just go up to her and be like, Mom, thanks for beating me when I was 12. You really showed me something. Because she'd be like, rah, rah, rah. You know, she wouldn't get it. So I said I will write a letter to her on a Christmas card. Thank her for being my mom. And I did. You're actually, if the person is no longer in your life, then, or deceased, you're supposed to write them, their soul, a letter, which I did. I wrote her soul a letter, and then you burn it. I read it out loud, and then I burned it, and then I watched I imagined rainbow energy just going out onto the universe, and I said, you're just supposed to transmute that energy into something positive. And I said, may all beings and consciousness in existence feel love and compassion. And I said, so it is. And then that was it. But her Christmas card, get this, and I hope she don't ever watch this. If she does, she'd be like, hey, what are you talking about? This is personal, but this is what I'm going to say, and I want this to be training for other people out there that might be doing this, because it's so important. But when Christmas comes, I'm going to write this on a card. And I did actually hug her, like, and it was so weird timing, because I went in the kitchen, and she always watches the Christian channel on TV. That's all she ever watches. And they were talking about trauma and how to deal with trauma and stuff like that. And I was just like, freaking synchronicity, like a bitch. I'm going to have to write that in my synchronicity journal. But so I just went up behind her, and I'm not good at this. And I went up behind her, and I'm like, oh, I love you. And she said, well, thank you, Carrie. We're not good at that kind of crap. but I did. I was like, I hugged her. Anyway, regardless of how awkward it was, I hugged her. She told her I loved her. She said, thank you, Carrie. So her Christmas card is going to be about like this. Thank you for always being my mom. Even though we haven't always seen eye to eye, I know you had the best intentions for me. You are a beautiful soul, no matter what life may have shown you otherwise. Nothing you've ever experienced was ever your fault. I got that from Matt Kahn. I hope this next year brings tremendous joy into your life. You deserve it. Merry Christmas. Love always, Carrie. Boom. Done. Trauma gone from that, at least one layer. So, yeah. And like I said, I mean, I have I have a list here of like 15 other events that I have to go through, and some of these I'm going to have to go through more than once because they're layered on top. And some of it is actually from other lifetimes, believe it or not. So I have rice in there cooking, so I hope it didn't burn. But I gotta go, and this got a little lengthy. But man, if you want to know how to change your life, isn't it worth 26 minutes of your time? So okay, I'm gonna go make my lunch. I haven't eaten yet. Having rice, brown rice, cabbage, and carrots, and some other shit. So, y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.